All right, Rich, we've been out for a while, but welcome everybody back. How are you doing, Richie?
I am doing good, Duke. How is everything your way?
No, just the good old weather. February's almost over, so can't really complain there. We have a ton of topics to go over with this hiatus we've been on, but um, we can go ahead and kick it off. Something that I think is going to be of controversy. There was a graphic posted today by CFB Alerts, possibly not Notre Dame, but Alabama, Ohio State possibly canceling their home and home. That's some of the speculation coming out of Columbus. I don't know how that is going to shake out, to say the least.
Yeah, I haven't come across anything like that, but how about that?
I just
If it happens, I was actually looking forward to playing Alabama.
that was my whole deal. I thought Ohio State would be in on playing Alabama. I thought that would have been a high priority on their list, but apparently not. So I guess we'll monitor that situation and see what becomes of it, because I just feel like that the SEC went to the 9 conference games and they didn't update the format. You're passing out extra losses to all the other teams out there in the SEC at the moment. The Big Ten right now they got a three-peat going in the national landscape. The SEC hasn't made the national championship since it's been 3 years, because when Michigan kicked it off, they beat Washington, which is technically now a Big Ten team. And then the year before, Notre Dame makes it, plays Ohio State. And then this year, Miami comes in there and plays Indiana. So the SEC, you gotta kind of go back to the drawing board a bit. But
Yeah, I mean, it was all pounding the table. SEC, it just means more, and they've been absent
yeah,
for a long time.
so a 3-year hiatus. Also, speaking of SEC news, Charles Bediako denied his TRO. Basically, Nick Kelly reports this: a Tuscaloosa judge has denied Charles Bediako's motion for a preliminary injunction to allow him to continue playing for Alabama this year, per court documents. What are you thinking on this Bediako thing? I mean, it's kind of wild, ain't it?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't. I think you're undermining college athletics by letting guys who played in the G League come back.
Yeah, that's just undermining the whole thing, though, Duke. Like, you're not good in the G League, so you're gonna come back and play college basketball.
Yeah,
That's wrong. I mean, to me, you're taking away opportunities for other kids to play.
Yeah, I'm just not in on Bediako coming back to college. Charlie Baker's statement today: common sense won around today. The court saw this for what it is. It's an attempt by professionals to pivot back to college and crowd out the next generation of students. College sports are for students, not for people who already were, is what Charlie Baker said. Correct. Also,
that's like somebody going into the NFL draft, not getting drafted, getting signed by somebody in the UFL, then it's not working out with the UFL club, and they decide to go back to college football.
Yeah, I think the Bediako thing now, because they want to tie this to the Trinidad Chambliss thing, and my thought on that is that Tom Mars has done a pretty good job of doing what he does pretty much, from what I've gathered out of, the people that report on it, the guys at 247, Rebels 247, Chase Parham and Neil, they pretty much hit it out of the park with everything when it comes to the Chambliss stuff, being, the industry leader in their team site. I think it's very, very interesting, to say the least, that people are trying to compare Chambliss to Bediako just for the simple fact of he's applying for an extra year. The thing with Chambliss that separates him was he never went pro.
Yeah.
And Ferris State did not produce documents, or they did not document his health issue. He didn't even play. He didn't even dress for any games. So I don't know. They wanted where you could play 5-5. I don't think then the NFL is going to have to do something. I don't know. I think Goodell's just going to punt that package down the road and say, you guys figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to get nasty and messy. It's going to create a whole whirlwind of problems.
I think that it's interesting, to say the least. I want to see how the Chambliss thing turns out. Also, in other news, sticking with Ole Miss, this came out a couple days ago. Former Ole Miss tight end Rufus French has been convicted in a mass $200 million Medicare fraud scheme involving bogus medical orders that target amputees and the elderly. Stole $200 million from the Medicare.
What? How does one even come up with a scheme like that? Just let alone sit down and be like, I wonder how I can get this money.
Well, this isn't the first time. I mean, Super Talk Mississippi put that out, but this isn't the first time we've seen some professional athletes defraud Medicare, because Gilbert Arenas was wrapped up in that, and a couple NBA guys were doing some defrauding in that, but I think Gilbert got his name cleared. But it's just very, very bizarre, to say the least.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of financial loss, the Raiders have introduced Clint Kubiak as their new coach. I find that interesting. Quickly after the Super Bowl is over.
Well, he confirmed that he was still going to be the head coach last night after the game.
So, I guess this is one instance of a coach sticking to his word, but I think regardless, the NFL calendar is made for this. You have all of the most of February. It works out better in the NFL than it does in college. But don't worry, we'll get to the calendar here in a little bit. But Penn State, I don't know if you've seen this that came out. Penn State reports a $535 million in athletics-related debt for 2025.
Wow.
What is going on at Penn State? I guess is my next.
The buyout with Franklin.
Well, they got off easy with Franklin. They only had to pay him. They only had to pay him $9 million.
And bringing everybody back from that roster: Aller, Katron Allen, Singleton. Those are the top three names I can, really jaw off the top of my head.
But I mean, I don't get it. I don't know how these schools are going to keep operating at a net profit loss when it comes to when it's this big. Something's got to give here. Something has to give, and I don't know when it's going to be, but I don't know when the dam's going to break. But at some point, all hell is going to break loose in this scheme.
I feel like it's starting to become a slow leak. Then it's just going to be a full-on break, dude. Just complete monsoon. It's going to be a disaster.
Well, because I look at that number, and then a few weeks ago we talked about Rutgers losing $500 million in athletics over a 10-year period, but Penn State did that in 1 year. At some
Jeez.
point, I think that cooler heads need to prevail, and we need to put the conferences back together. And I'm also a proponent of putting the Big East back together, make it a 2014 playoff, and put the Big East back together, and put the Pac-12 back together.
2014. Yeah, I mean the conferences they're too top heavy. I mean, there's just too many.
I just don't think you're going to be able to get this whole thing solved with a 16 team playoff with 18 team to 20 team leagues, because I feel like the winds are changing. 2030, all hell's going to break loose, and I don't know what Clemson's going to do. They're either going to have to join the big, but I don't think the Big Ten can take any more teams. That's what I'm saying. Because
they could join the SEC.
I don't think the SEC will take Clemson. I think they're more in.
Where would they go?
They would have to go. No. Well, we've been saying this for years. I think the ACC's on life support, and nobody wants to talk about it. I think the Big Ten will scoop up Miami. They will scoop up Duke. They'll scoop up probably Miami, Duke, Florida State. But Florida State's strapped financially. And if they take Clemson, I think Virginia and North Carolina are going to go to the SEC. I think that's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah.
I don't see, and then with the rest of the schools, I don't know what you do with Pitt, even though they're a MAC school in a big city. Pitt, you have
to go to the MAC.
Boston College. Pitt would never go to the MAC. They have Boston College, Syracuse. You have all those schools in the upper Northeast. Does the Big 12 throw their hat in the ring and gobble them up? And then also nobody's talking about the University of Memphis either, because Memphis wants out of the AAC. Where are they going to go?
What if the American and the ACC just combine?
They're gonna have to figure something out.
Combine and become, like you said, become the Big East.
I don't know. I mean, because if the ACC implodes, we have serious problems. They have to keep the ACC together.
They got to figure something out quick, man, because this is downward spiral on it.
But also the ACC has got to. They've got to start investing in football to be competitive. They have to, or they're going to get gobbled up.
Yeah, because they're starting to turn into like
Big
how
East.
Pac-12, how big Pac-12 was.
But they still have financial backing because ESPN owns their TV rights.
Correct. I
think that's the only thing that's going to save them. I think the Big 12 is stable. They have stable enough programs there, like Arizona State. But if you talk about the Big 12 versus the ACC, I mean, there's a handful of teams in each conference that could throw their hat in the ring for the college football playoff, and I just don't think injecting more teams into the SEC in the Big Ten's going to save it.
Right. Yeah.
But I could also see a day where ESPN owns all the major conference TV rights.
No more big noon kickoff.
Well, if Fox keeps farting around, I don't know. I think in 2032, it's going to get interesting. I would not be shocked if CBS and NBC go in for a bigger investment. NBC's got the money to do it, and so does CBS.
Right, yeah.
And Fox ends up with the Big 12. the exclusive partner of the Big 12 and they buy some
Yeah.
of the Pac-12 action, they already own the Mountain West.
And you got NBC doing Big Ten games and CBS doing the Big Ten games.
As long as they can just fit it around Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's what I think the TV model is going to look like, because I think CBS on the college football front of it, I think they're like, okay, we need to get serious, because we used to have the number 1 rated game every other week at 3:30, and we're not there.
No,
So
you're playing Rutgers and
Minnesota,
Purdue, yeah, or Minnesota.
But speaking of big time matchups, here's a list of notable head coaches versus top 10 teams. CFB report put this out. Kirk Cignetti versus top 10 teams, 6-2. Pretty, with 2 years, that's a really decent record.
Yeah, that's good.
Kirby Smart, 27-11. Not bad. DeBoer, 7-3. Ryan Day, 10-15. As you go down, Dabo Sweeney, 19-16. So everybody so far has a winning record. Mario Cristobal at 500 at 8-8. Dan Lanning, 6-6. And this is where it gets interesting. Marcus Freeman, 5-6. He took those 2 L's at the beginning of the season and didn't see another one. Lincoln Riley, 5-9. Steve Sarkisian, 8-19. Lane Kiffin, 5-16. James Franklin, 4-21.
Yeah, I figured Franklin would be at the bottom.
But here's my thing with Franklin. James, he got caught in a no-win situation at Penn State, because I had been thinking about this. You can say all you want about James Franklin, and you can make all the big game James jokes you want, but at the end of the day, he had to go up against pretty much, well, Harbaugh ain't going to get in the College Football Hall of Fame now, but who knows. He got stuck with Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, and then Harbaugh, Ryan Day. So I think that's a fascinating stat. I think if you took his record out against Ohio State and Michigan at Penn State, I bet that record's very different. Because you got to think for years when they did the stupid divisions, which I was never a fan of that, by the way. You had Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State all in the same conference.
Yeah.
So, or all in the same division. So that was a guaranteed game, which it should be. But as the conferences have grown, just very, 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 very bizarre. I think that's interesting. Lane Kiffin, 5-16, first top 10 teams.
I say good luck to LSU.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. Not gonna pile on just yet. I know it'll probably take their media 18 months to do it, like they did Brian Kelly.
True.
If they end up with a bunch of 9-3s. Also, Rally House is selling the Big Ten trifecta T-shirts, the Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana shirts.
Ooh.
I'm sure those are going to be selling like
hotcakes.
Yes.
Ooh. I might have to go. I'm gonna have to go to Rally House this week. See what's running. Hopefully not $60.
Oh yeah. Just a little insight into the 2026 recruiting class. Pete Nakos got this from a coach, a Power 4 coach. This is from a Big Ten general manager. He said, we had a kid ask for a signing bonus, flights, jersey of choice guaranteed, insurance policy, loss of home, disability insurance, a vehicle shipped, and a rental house, an award campaign push, preferred walk-on spots for other players, tickets to home and away games, field passes for agents, is what a Big Ten general manager said.
Now, this is is getting this is getting more outlandish with these demands, dude.
Yeah,
I just
I don't know. I don't know where we're going. I guess, like Dr. Brown said in Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads. Also, I know this is close and near and dear to your heart. I guess in a Buffalo Kent State game, there was $424,000 worth of wagers placed on it. And it was a video. I would show the video, but we'd get copyright. But there was a bad pass in the game. I'm not going to point out either team, but somebody retweeted it and said, as long as this video exists, Buffalo players will never beat the allegations.
Yep, I know what you're talking about, dude. Yep.
So you know what I'm talking about. Just very,
mm-hmm.
very, very bizarre. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll get to this. Some of the hubbub on some of the other stuff going on in college football. I actually agree with Lane Kiffin here. They released a calendar for next year. The Fiesta Bowl is December 30th. They have the 3 bowl games on New Year's Day, which is the Sugar, Rose, Cotton. And then the semifinal games, there's a week in between where it's going to be the Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl on January 14th and 15th. And then the Fiesta Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl are all going to be on the 30th and the 1st. And then the national championship is on January 25th. Does that make any sense at all?
I'm looking at that schedule, Duke. That
doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, I thought they were in talks to move the calendar forward, not move it back.
Jeez. I don't know what they're doing here.
Because if I pull up my calendar if you pull up the calendar for next year, you're going to play a game on Wednesday night, and then you're going to play all the 3 other bowl games on Friday Friday, and then you go 14th and 15th. You give them a whole extra week off, and then you go to that Monday. You're basically taking over the whole month of January. From when the playoffs, where the bowl games start, outside of the first round to play the semifinals, quarterfinals, and finals, it's going to be all of 25 days.
I mean, can we get a national championship on a Friday night?
I'm not even saying Friday night. I'm just saying play it on Saturday. Just play it on Saturday.
Here's the thing. You're bumping in with the NFL's with the schedule with the playoffs.
That's why if you play it on January 1st, you ain't got to worry about it. And then college football is completely done.
Agreed. But depending on how the NFL schedule works out, I mean, they might have a Friday game. Noah and Goodell trying to have a Friday night game.
Well, I just don't see why they don't move signing day back to where it was instead of this early signing day. You just have signing day in February. You have the portal open in January, and then have signing day, and then it's all set in stone, and then you can go into spring football if you're one of the people that want to save that. But
I mean, that's your college free agency period right there. You just, like you said, that one short period.
Because the portal can open the day after the national championship day, leave it open 14 days, and then everybody has the last 2 weeks of January to get their roster set. You can, if you want to start spring early, like, Saban always started spring in February. And then you have all of spring, and then you move the season up because it's not going to be any hotter what is it, Memorial Day weekend opposed to 2 weeks before that. You move
It's
it up.
still going to be hot. Yeah.
You move it up 2 to 3 weeks, and you get to keep your conference championship games, and then you can do whatever with the bowls. I don't care.
But the thing is too, I don't know what schools are still on quarters versus semesters.
I would think you could be able to figure that out, but
yeah. No.
Also, speaking of schools that have reported financial losses, Florida State comes in at $437 million in athletics-related debt for 2025. The Seminoles strapped for cash.
You gotta get under that salary cap. That's your salary cap right there.
So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Also, I guess this year's Super Bowl commercials were $10 million.
Jesus, $10 million.
Yeah, I just.
Oh, what was the best? What was your favorite one, Duke?
I thought they were all mid.
See, now my favorite one was the Uber Eats.
Okay, I guess maybe Uber Eats, but I thought
the only reason was because they had the Hall of Fame on there. That's why. I
thought they were mid. But
I mean, yeah, they were all mid. I love seeing the Hall of Fame on there.
It just the marketing people at a lot of these major corporations need to go back to the drawing board. But also,
they've been mid for the last, I'd say, 5 years. There's really not one that's really stuck out in my mind.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Also, I guess since we were off, we didn't talk about Darian Mensah going to Miami. I guess they got that figured out, and Duke is, I guess, appeased with the way that went out. But a quote from Darian Mensah: "I want to make it to the NFL. I want to be a first-round draft pick, and all signs point towards Miami." I think they paid him $10 million.
Oh
yeah.
Because they got to replace Carson Beck, so they were doing whatever willing to throw that bag at him.
Yeah, and I guess in another report, Justin Fields declined the Pro Bowl invitation.
Don't get me started on the Pro Bowl.
I'll keep it brief. I don't know exactly what their expectation is. The way I look at it, but I think that's very, very bizarre, to say the least. You would invite Justin Fields. It's like, whatever, I get it. He has a big presence on social media. I hate to be the guy that throws dirt on him, but do you think we're getting towards the end of Justin Fields in the NFL?
Sad to say, it's looking that way.
I mean, I don't know if you can quite give up. I mean, Sam Darnold just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and people were writing him off as a bust.
Yeah, because
and the thing is too, Duke, he's the only quarterback from that draft class to, one, make it to the Super Bowl, and two, let alone win it.
Right.
So there's still a little glimmer of hope, just a smidge. I'm still rooting for the kid because if Sam Darnold can do it, I think Justin Field, if he can somehow get it together, just one last hurrah, maybe.
All right. So with that being said, we'll go to Gus Malzahn. Retires. Gus Bus retiring. What do you think? Do you think history will be favorable to Gus Malzahn?
In what way?
Didn't win a natty as a head coach, but won one as an assistant for Gene Chizik. You know, they had that big year with Cam Newton. I'll just read you the Gus Bus stops in his records, and you tell me. So Gus gets the Arkansas State job, which Arkansas State went on a tear from like 2011 to like 2016. A lot of people forget about that in the Sun Belt. Arkansas State, I think, won 6 consecutive conference championships because Freeze won one, Gus won one, Brian Harsin won, I think, multiple. But Arkansas State, he starts out there 9-3, 7-1 in the conference, go Daddy Bowl. Then he gets a job at Auburn, takes him to the Natty in his first year with an L. I believe he lost to 2013 was Florida State.
Yes. Yeah, that was Jameson's. That was
Jameis's year. He went 12-2. Then he goes 2014 goes 8-5, 4-4 in the West. You got to remember Saban is at peak powers here.
Yeah.
So
that was 2014, the following year.
Yeah. And then 7-6, 8-5, 10-4. He went to the Peach Bowl, lost 8-5, 9-4, and then he only makes it to 6-4 in 2020 because of that being a weird year. And they fire Gus Bus. And Gus ends up 68-35 at Auburn. And then he takes the job at USF, 9-4, 9-5, 6-7, 4-8, and then takes the job at Florida State and is at FSU a year. They have a subpar year, and Gus Malzahn hangs it up for an overall record of 105-62. I think that's a pretty good coaching career.
I think so.
I think history will be more favorable to Gus Malzahn at Auburn than what people will want to say.
Yeah, because I mean, he was in the shadow of Saban.
Saban at peak powers. He was there from 2020 to 2013, and then Gus gets fired. He takes UCF, wins the Gasparilla Bowl, doesn't win the conference at UCF. Then they go to the Big 12, have a subpar year in 23, and then it just kind of fell off in 24. But he ends up with a winning record at, even though he was 4 games over 500, but ends up with a winning record, well over the threshold, in my opinion. So that is Gus Bus. Gus Malzahn, no more, retires. And then we pivot to Florida State. Mike Norvell says he's taken over play calling. I don't know. Oh, what's up, Joe?
Hey, old Joe, what do you know?
So you kind of got that floating out there. I'm assuming if it doesn't go well this year at Florida State, does Norvell have to make the college football playoff to be safe? Or does 6-6 keep him?
Yeah. But I don't see that happening with them
being financially strapped like
they
are.
It's not looking favorable for Norvell.
It's not looking favorable, but I'll also raise you this: Florida State they have a huge budget in their athletic or they have a huge hole in their athletic department. Got you, Richard. Also, we'll buzz through some things here really quick. The Saints playing the Browns in Paris.
I think there is going to be 8 international games come next season.
Yeah, I think so. Also, really quick, LSU had an investigation opened up into them. They got by the or whatever that College Football Sports Commission, the CSC, they got cleared of all wrongdoing, I guess. Also, Rick Barnes, Tennessee coach, made a kind of dumb statement, I think. He said, sometimes I wonder if guys are betting on games, and then kind of laughed it off and had to backtrack it, which I don't think that was very funny to his bosses at Tennessee. And then also on a more somber note, Lou Holtz enters hospice care.
Ugh.
So at the age of 89, so hopefully Luke can hang on. Thoughts and prayers with his family. That is a tough scene. And then lastly, we'll end it on this, Rich, since you got to run. North Dakota State joining the Mountain West.
Ooh.
So
I thought that was interesting over the weekend. Them that breaking news of them joining the Mountain West.
I think you're going to see, which Matt McChesney said this a long time ago. He said there was 6 of those Dakota schools, North Dakota State, and they're joining in South Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana State. I think if you put them in the Mountain West, I think they could that would be a tougher conference than what left them. So there's that, and then also I'm seeing a video of Clint Kubiak wins the Super Bowl on Sunday, flies to Vegas on Monday, and it just that's the news cycle. That's how things move on fairly quickly.
That's where we're at now.
And so with North Dakota State joining, just get a load of this conference. The Mountain West is going to be Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, all pretty decent members. And then
San Diego State.
North Dakota State. Nope, San Diego State is in the new Pac-12.
That's right.
And then you have Northern Illinois, San Jose State, UNLV, UTEP, and Wyoming is the new Mountain West.
Wow.
But if you look at the FCS champions since 2024, you have North Dakota State, North Dakota State, North Dakota State, North Dakota State, JMU in 2016, North Dakota State, Sam Houston, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. So I think that if they market this right, this could really work out for the Mountain West, to be honest.
I'm anxious to see how well North Dakota State what's the word I'm trying to look for? How competitive they are moving up from FCS to FBS and joining the Mountain West.
I think they might struggle a little bit, but I don't think it'll be as what people are going to say.
And did you see that they're shutting down the LA Bowl?
Oh yeah, because it's terrible.
Yeah.
I guess this came out a couple of days ago. This will be the last thing, and then we'll jettison on out of here for a Monday. I guess Fernando Mendoza got kicked out of Indiana's facilities.
What?
And he was on Cowherd talking about it. I'll have to watch the video, but I would say he probably kicked him out because that's 2025. You got to get 2026 started.
I think he runs a tight ship.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that's interesting. And then they got the tax breakdown for Sam Darnold. He lost $71K for winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I saw that too. Jeez. What was it, the jock tax? I think that's what they call it.
Yeah. So we'll see how this whole offseason shakes out. I think it's going to be very interesting. I didn't get tied up into a lot of the Super Bowl hoopla. College basketball is in full swing. Also, I guess just 19 minutes ago, David Njoku not returning to the Cleveland Browns. Shocker. Couldn't imagine that was happening.
Whoa. The Chief seeking talents elsewhere.
So, yeah, I'm not shocked at all. So, And then college baseball starts in like 6 days. We'll probably do some stuff on the weekends with that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know 100% yet, but I guess with that being said, Rich, you got anything else for tonight?
I got nothing else, Duke. It's gonna be a long time till August.
Well, Rich, really, if you look at it, let me pull up my calendar real quick. If you look at week 0 is only 6 months, 2 weeks, and 6 days away.
But hey,
but
who's
who's counting? Who's
exactly.
counting? And then, not to mention LSU at Ole Miss is 7 months, 1 week, and 3 days away. Don't know why I would have that circled on the calendar.
Me either.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But the college football national championship will kick off in 11 months, 2 weeks, and 2 days. So, I guess that's kind of where we're at, Rich. So, I guess with that being said, you don't have anything else, and I guess we'll end it there. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. If you can do us the biggest favor, hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us a ton with the algorithm since we took a few weeks off. But I'm going to tell you this much. We put out over like 300 videos worth of content last year. So your boy was a little tired at the end of the season. So
well worth it.
So there's that. We'll keep trying to grow this thing, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night.